And this is just so much fun to try and manage papers with this wind. But I'm sticking with it. I am so grateful to have this breeze. So, let me go and make sure I've got the things that I need to cover here. Yes. All right. Well, the reason I accessed, first of all, I gotta say hi again to everybody. I am just so glad to see each and every one of you, every single one of you. If you out there in Facebook land, or some of you didn't get here till later, or right at the beginning, I don't know if you realize it takes a team of at least 9 to 12 volunteers every Sunday to make this happen. And I just want to give a shout out to all of the volunteers that work so effortlessly, yes, in this heat. Our parking lot group who greets you, I could go on. I don't want to name names because I'm telling you, I have a list of 30 that we draw from to make a team of 12 every Sunday. This stage didn't just happen to get here. So how grateful I am. It takes a village to raise a church, and you all are the village. Yes, yes, yes. So anyway, last night I found a Facebook Live of Carl Anthony, who was doing, it was the coolest thing. He was live from LA in his home, and the other half of the screen was live from the Tibetan monastery where the Dalai Lama is. And I would encourage any of you to go on YouTube and just go to Carl Anthony's website, and it will be recorded there. And I want to share with you some of the things, some of the nuggets that I picked up just in the short time that I was able to watch it. Whoops. There we go. So, the Dalai Lama, he watches broadcast every day of the COVID-19 coverage. And he acknowledges to the audience out there, it makes him very sad. And that most days, it makes him cry. He says, I can be sad without losing courage. I can be sad without losing courage. Sadness can transform determination. Sadness should not feel helplessness. Helplessness feels like a failure. He continues to say, we are made for times like these. Failure is not an option. He says, when faced with new constraints, we are truly able to leap past old habits, assumptions, and ruts. Something new becomes possible. Now, I want you to recognize that word ruts. Sometimes it says about ruts. And I remember when I went to Alaska a few years ago, and there were signs, because Alaska, most of the roads are dirt roads. And there are signs all over these dirt roads that say, choose your rut wisely. You'll be in it for the next 50 miles. Isn't that a metaphor for life? Choose our ruts wisely. So I'm going to repeat the Dalai Lama statement again. When faced with new constraints, think about your own life right now. Think about our world and how we are currently faced with new constraints. You know, I look at Cindy Zukarski right now, and she's faced with new constraints that she didn't have any clue were coming. But all of us, in some way, shape, or form, are faced with new constraints right now. So when faced with new constraints, we truly are able to leap past our old habits, assumptions, and ruts. Something new becomes possible. Something new becomes possible. Now, I have heard, and I've been involved in many conversations with many people from many various walks of life ever since this COVID thing has started. And I hear so many different conversations. But the Dalai Lama says something new, right? We passed out stickers, a bumper sticker years ago, 10 years ago, that said something wonderful is about to happen. And that's what the Dalai Lama is saying to all of us. It doesn't appear wonderful right now, does it? The appearances don't seem that wonderful. But yet, in my conversations with many people, they are finding blessings throughout this coronavirus time. They are finding blessings. They're finding, and I'm looking at some of the teenagers here right now, and I look at the loss that they've experienced from the connection of their schoolmates. And then when we were in heavy quarantine, you know, the only way for you guys to connect was through social media. And I know that that's an easy tool for you, but it still doesn't beat being in the physical space of your best friend. It still doesn't. And I think about all of us. But then I move to a gratitude of, thank God we have social media. That we didn't miss a beat as a church community. And what was the blessing behind all that? To realize and wake up that the church is not a building. The church is the people. We don't have to come together in a building. It's nice because the building has lots of comforts. It has a fellowship hall where, you know, food is always wanted and welcomed. But we're making do with what we have. Right? So look at us. I look around at this, and I don't know, Tom, are you able to just give a look at all the people that brought their own lawn chairs? And did any of you complain and say, what an inconvenience?
Huh?
No, you see how adaptable we are as human beings. We adapt. We don't adapt as easy as our four-legged creatures out there in the world. They innately adapt. We, because we run from our minds, we resist until we finally realize adapting is what brings me peace. Have you ever said to yourself, and I want to thank a couple of people from the Thursday morning Course in Miracles Unity class for bringing this up to me. Have you ever said this to yourself or to someone else? I'll have peace when this election is finally over. I got a couple chuckles out there. How about this one? I'll have peace when they find a cure for the coronavirus. Then I'll have peace. Have you ever said this? Some of you might pertain to this. I'll have peace when my elderly parents or my spouse or my kids or my parents finally get it. Whatever that it is, when they finally get it, I'm going to have peace. You know, and then Reverend Kathy comes back when I hear that statement and say, how is that working for you? Waiting until this happens then I'll have peace. And we're robbing ourselves of the now moment. As Eckhart Tolle has talked about and written a book titled The Power of Now. And now is really, truly all we have. It's all we have. But how much time do we spend on the past, and how much time do we spend on the future of when they get it, I'll have peace. When they don't talk like that on Facebook or Twitter, I'll have peace. And we're robbing ourselves of this precious now moment. I want to read you something out of The Quest. And this poor book just went through the windstorm this morning, so I got to hold it together. It's an older Unity book, and it is a course study that takes a year to go through. And we did this here at church probably, 13, 14 years ago. And it impacted and changed my life back then. And I want to read to you just a short snippet out of it. Find it here. The pages have blown. Okay. It says, growing where you are planted. You've heard that, right? Grow where you are planted. Meaning grow right now, here, okay? Grow where you are planted does not mean that you should accept limitations of your present circumstances. No. Indeed, the flower planted in the shade still seeks the sun. Any problem that you are now facing does not have to be accepted at face value. That's not what I'm talking about here. It can become a chance to grow, a chance to claim more of the good that God has for you. I want to read that one again. Any problem that you are now facing does not have to be accepted at face value. It can become a chance to grow, a chance to claim more of the good that God has for you. God's desire for you. God's desire for you. You. All of you. God's desire for you is absolute good. Nothing less than absolute good. So do not be satisfied with less. And it goes on to quote something out of Philippians, where Paul is saying, forget what lies behind and forget straining forward to what lies ahead. I press on toward the upward call of God. In other words, seek first ye the kingdom of God, and the kingdom of God is not in the past, and the kingdom of God is not in the future. The kingdom of God is where? Right now. And that kingdom of God is within. And in that kingdom are many, many mansions. And this is about you. It's about you. I'm going to read to you, and I'm going to try and do my best because I feel this. I'm going to tie this in with what I just read to you from the Quest and what I've been talking about from the Dalai Lama. So this is a conversation that someone anonymous had with God, and they put it in writing. So I'm going to try and do the voice of God and the voice of me. So this is me. Hey, God. God. Hello? I'm falling apart. Can you put me back together? I'd rather not. Why? Because you aren't a puzzle. Well, what about all the pieces of my life that are falling down onto the ground? Let them stay there for a while. They fell off for a reason. Take some time and decide if you need any of those pieces back. Me. You don't understand. I'm breaking down. No, you don't understand. You are breaking through. What you are feeling is just growing pains. You are shedding the things and the people in your life that are holding you back. You aren't falling apart. You are falling into place. You aren't falling apart. You are falling into place. Relax. Take some deep breaths and allow those things you don't need anymore to fall off of you. Quit holding on to the pieces that don't fit you anymore. Let them fall off. Let them go. Once I start doing that, then what's going to be left of me? Only the very best pieces of you. I'm scared of changing. I keep telling you, you aren't changing. You are becoming. Becoming who? Becoming who I created you to be. A person of light, of love, of clarity, of charity, of hope, courage, joy, mercy, grace, and compassion. I made you for more than the shallow pieces that you've decided to adorn yourself with and you cling to with such great greed and fear. Let those things fall off of you. I love you. Don't change. Become. 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 Become who I made you to be. I'm going to keep telling you this until you remember it. But there goes another piece. Yep, let it be. So, I'm not broken? Of course not. But you are breaking into the dawn. It's a new day. Become. 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 It's a new day. We call it the coronavirus time, don't we? It's a new dawn that's lying before us. And we may not see it today. We may not see it in the weeks to come. But if we hold the high watch, if we do what's ours to do and keep bringing our vibration up, because I'm with you. People and the news media and Facebook, I'm so cautious of who I am looking at on Facebook right now. I'm not going to entertain the negativity because it drops my vibration down. Even though I know better, it still can hook me. And I don't want to get into that rut and be in there for the next 50 miles. Do you? Do you? You get to choose, though. See, that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty and the curse. We get to choose. And I'm choosing not to be in that rut for any length of time. Acknowledge that I got into a rut, but I don't have to be stuck there for 50 miles. You know how to get out of the ruts. You know how to do this through prayer, through meditation, through the pause, the pray. And don't proceed until you're ready and prayed up. That is so important. Do not buy in to all this that's going on. And I know, I hear all the conspiracy theories. I hear all the medical facts. I hear this website, this YouTube, that YouTube, too, all under the name of MDs, but yet they have totally different takes on it. You've got to go within. Go within. You're wiser than you ever knew. You don't need all this public opinion. You've got the answers. You were born a perfect child of God. And we keep going to, as this conversation with God was, you keep holding on to the pieces that you adore and you think you need to survive, when they are, those pieces of the puzzles are based on fear and greed. Who needs any more fear in their life? Raise their hand or honk your horn if you need fear in your life. Who wants more peace in their life? Raise your hand or honk your horn. It's unanimous. It is unanimous. So why are we still spending so much time in the past and in the future? All we have is now, as Eckhart Tolle would say. All we have is now. You know, goodness gracious. I'm going to leave you with something here before I get blown away. And part of what the Dalai Lama did was, and somebody tell me what this word is, because I've lost it. It's when you take the words like COVID-19, and so you take COVID,
Acronym.
What is it called?
Acronym.
Acronym. The Dalai Lama took COVID-19 and made it into an acronym. And we will have this also on our website and on our Facebook page. So he says, of the word COVID, C is being called for compassion. Compassion. Not anger, not, oh my God, I can't believe they don't have a mascot. Or I can't believe they're still on this same exit with their sign, needing help, needing money. The judgments that we do. Stop, catch yourself, and go to compassion. The O on COVID stands for opportunity. We have an opportunity in front of us. To what? To change? No. Become. Become. We have an opportunity. The V stands for victory and vitality. Every morning when you wake up, claim it as a victory. When you go into your refrigerator and there is something to eat there, claim it as a victory. When you can get up and go to the bathroom, claim it as vitality. When you are able to drink a beverage, when you can drink clean water, vitality and opportunity. So there's your C, compassion, O, opportunity, V for victory and vitality. The I is in for impermanence. Impermanence. Do you know what that means? Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. Everything changes. Even your pets. They don't stay the same, do they? No. Nature. Impermanence. And then the D for COVID. Divine plan. In Unity, we call that divine order, divine love. So you've got C is compassion, O, opportunity, V is victory and vitality, I is impermanence, D is divine order, divine plan. And then he even went further with 19. Number 1 is for new beginnings. And number 9 is for wisdom and responsibility.
Great stuff.
Wisdom and responsibility. With that, I want to close because we have an opportunity to become. We have an opportunity to quit looking at they got to change, it's got to change, I got to change before I have peace. No. As a conversation with God said, you don't need to change. I made you perfect. But become what I made you and brought you here to be and to do. You were brought here to do great work. You were brought here to do great work. Don't play small. You can play small. Nothing wrong with that. But man, there is such an opportunity out here for all of us to make a difference in this world. And we're going to get through COVID-19 if more and more of us hold the high vibration. It is a must that we hold the good in people and that we walk through our life with more compassion and more understanding. That's how we get through this virus. Wake up to what it has to teach us to become, and it will then dissipate because it's no longer going to be needed here to teach us because we're learning from it. Oh boy, I think I could go on for another half an hour. I got to stop. So, yes, you're here to make a difference. If you agree with that, raise your hand and honk your horn. You're here to make a difference. Tom, you're here to make a difference. Kathy, you're here to make a difference. So with that, I always close with the word namaste. Namaste means that the Christ in me truly sees, I truly see and honor